Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Max, and today I'm giving you another tour of another of my distinction grade art sketchbooks that I've recently completed in college. Okay, so this is my sketchbook. It's got 3 different units in it. It's got graphics, and it's got painting and photography, and I color coded all the different units here on my contents page, so I can see and my teachers can see which bits of work apply to which unit. The graphics unit we did separately, but the photography and painting we did kind of combined together in one project, which was called Sense of Place, and it was basically like landscape photography / painting, I guess. But yeah, to start with, we just did graphics. So graphic design, most people know what that is, but it's basically things here like signage, leaflets, newspapers, that kind of thing. So it's kind of commercial, like art that's kind of attached to brands and products and stuff. And we also did a couple pages are a bit like this, where we kind of analyzed the use of different graphic elements, so like the use of color, the use of font, that kind of thing in adverts and logos and other things like that. So this is just some typographic terminology and stuff, and this is the different kind of letter forms that you can have. So most people have heard of like serif and sans serif. Script and display is like the main kind of 4 different letter forms that you can have. Here's some more notes, and this is the project brief. So the project for this unit was to basically come up with your own logo, and you could pick one of these brands or you could make your own brand. And as you can see here, my brand was a soft toy brand, and it was called Thule and Friends. So Thule is this guy here. So he, at the time that I was first starting this project, I was starting to make this little comic, which, as you can see, I never finished it because this is the front cover and it's got like 2 characters on it. I did this in a live stream, but not that many people came to it. Only like 3 people came to it. But yeah, so Thule's like the main character of this comic I was doing at the time. He's like a little Twinkie bunny rabbit thing. So I did a toy brand that was essentially like him and his friends as little toys. So kind of like Sylvanians, but they were bigger. I'd say they're like that big. Yeah, this is just more about different kind of fonts and typefaces and stuff. And then this is a exercise that we did in class. So basically what we had to do, we were in teams of 3 and we made 6 like little small designs out of kind of like cuttings out of newspapers and just drawing and stuff like that as well. And we had to like create it to reflect certain themes. So we did 3. This first one is order, and then this one was playful. And yeah, so these are the 6 like small ones we did, and then we had to like remake them like the best one again, but bigger. So this is from that one, which I did with just like chopping up bits of paper, and then this is with oil pastel. And then this one, we just kind of photocopied it and just enhanced the colors a bit, that's all. And then this is the same again, but this one I got the like actual original sheet that it was on, so these are a bit bigger. And yeah, I just wrote some notes about that, and then this is the one we chose, which was this one. And as you can see, the colors are kind of different, like they're a bit more saturated. This is a lot redder than this, which is quite orange. We did more of that analysis that I was talking about, of mainly like the font used and stuff. And then we did more notes about different types of font and stuff. And then to kind of draw on like the research and stuff that we did, and we did our own little exercise about it. So we made like 4 different kind of typefaces, 4 different like uses of font and color that would communicate different messages about the brand. So this one, for example, it's very kind of soft, and I said that this would be kind of like a baby or toddler kind of brand. And then yeah, this is just some examples of calligrams, which is basically where you can convey the meaning of the word with the way that you write it, kind of. So like here with families, they've put like little heads on the, well, I guess the eyes already have heads, but to make it look like there's a little family in the word. Oh, and then these are just like notes about the different, how these brands each use the logo to communicate their, like what they're about. More notes about logos, how they're used, different examples. Here you can see like a little progression of like the BMW logo, for example. And then this was some more work that we did digitally. So we had to do some logo parodies. So that's basically where you take a logo of an already existing brand and you kind of change it to mean something else in a kind of humorous way. Here, obviously it's the Barbie logo, and I changed it to be Barbell because that's like you know, the like barbells, like the thing at the gym where you lift it up. Obviously, I know all about that, and I do that all the time. And that's kind of funny because it's like Barbie, she's really skinny, she's not like, supposedly she's not very strong or whatever. So yeah, no, that's what that's about. And then I did Sylvanian famines instead of Sylvanian families because they're all about like peace and like harmony and having like a happy little village. But then now they're having a famine apparently. And then this one, it's My Little Pony, obviously, and I changed it to My Little Pony, and I made the little colours here, I turned them to the bi flag. The different types of logos specifically, so like lettermark, brand mark, abstract, word mark, mascot. So mascot is the one that I ended up doing, but I also did like a lettermark one that went with it. And then this is a little bit of notes and explanation about what a morphological matrix is. This is like an example as well. And a morphological matrix is basically this. So what you've got is different types of thing. So like lettermarks, so these are like words, like the font that you would use, I guess. And then different kind of iconography that you could incorporate, so colors, shapes, and then I picked 3 things that kind of related to the brand, so like the rabbit, flowers, and like items / accessories. You come up with like ideas for the logo by joining different ones together. That's basically what this page is all about. So for example, this one here, it's like a combination of this one with this one and kind of this one. So it's like 3 smushed together. This is like handouts that we got that were different sort of themes and the kind of connotations that go with them and their kind of target audiences. So this one, for example, with the naked man on it, this is about like fitness and being manly and yeah, it's like the kind of iconography you'd use, like the bold letters and the dark colors and the naked man. And then these are some little essays that I wrote. So we had to research like similar brands to the brand that we were trying to make. So obviously mine was a toy brand, so I picked 2 popular toy brands. I picked Barbie because part of the kind of experience of my brand is like dressing the toy up and like buying different clothes for it and stuff. And then I picked Sylvanian families because obviously it's like a little animal character. Like you can see the kind of resemblance. Just had to write about like their values of the brand and how their logos communicate their values. These were given to us in class, I didn't write any of this. So it's just like meanings of different colors and different shapes. And we could use that if we wanted to kind of inform the decisions we made about our final logo. These are different kind of branding ideals, I guess, that you can incorporate into like a logo and advertising and stuff for a brand. Again, I didn't write this, this was given to us. I did write this. I wrote a lot for this. I had a bit of a bee in my bonnet because basically what we had to do was come up with 3 different logos and they each would be for 3 different brands, like different services, I guess. So this one is like a play barn. I don't know if any of you all ever went to like Barney's Play Barn, but I really loved it. It's basically like a big like indoor area with like soft play and slides and a ball pit and crap like that, and it's super fun. And then this was like just like the toy brand, which is the one I was always going to do. And then this is like a pet care brand, I guess. And my teacher, he was like, so guys, you can just get AI to do it for you. You can just get ChatGPT to write all of this stuff for you. It's so helpful. It's such a useful tool to use. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't very happy about that. Intelligent people don't need computers to do things for them. So I just wanted to I just wrote more than the AI and I wrote better than the AI. And I just was like, yeah, kind of annoyed because loads of people in my class like took shortcuts and people have been telling me that they've been using AI to like write their essays and stuff, and I was just like, it just feels like cheating because you're literally getting a computer to do your work for you. So this is the original logo that I made, which is the letter form one. So this is like a kind of step-by-step how I made the logo, and then we had to put them on different products and stuff. I'm not quite sure why you'd want a pillow with it, but I guess like a bag kind of makes sense. This was like originally what I had. The font was kind of funky, so like I changed it to be a bit better. Another couple essays we had to write was about different logo designers, and I don't have a particular affinity with this topic, to be honest. I don't really care about graphic design, so I didn't have any like, oh, this guy's my absolute favorite logo designer, and I love him to pieces. Like, I just picked these guys because we got a list of names that had like examples on. I just looked them up and I like looked at their logos, and I just picked 2 that I thought made pretty cool looking logos. So yeah, and people, my class always like make fun of me for like, because they'll be looking through my book and they'll be like, why have you just got pictures of random old men in your book? It's like, because like you'll see a couple more random old men in my book. But it's like, yeah, I just like putting a picture of the artist there. 1, so that it's like more personal and you know who you're writing about, and 2, because it like fills space. Like, that's a whole paragraph I didn't have to write because I put his face there. Originally I was just gonna have the letters, but then my teacher said I should make a little mascot as well. So this is kind of the process for that. Well, it's more like variations of it than a process. So this is it without any outlines. This is it with some outlines, and this is it with all outlines. Then my teacher liked this one. I didn't like this one, and then I showed my other teacher it, and she didn't really like it either. And so what I did was I just made the eyes bigger, and I like tilted them to make them, I don't know, it just looks kind of cuter that way for some reason. But yeah, this is the final little face that I used. And then this is the final evaluation for that project. So I've got pictures of, I wrote this before I made the like mascot logo, so that's not on here, but I've got pictures of my character, and I've got pictures of the logo. And yeah, no, I just had to write about how I made it, the kind of like things about the brand, how the logo reflects the brand, processes and stuff, the target audience. I wrote this ages ago. This was, yeah, I don't really remember. But that's the end of the graphics project. And then this is the new project. Got like lists of different artists and photographers, and some like health and safety information too. So basically what we had to do is pick a place and then try and convey the place through photography and through painting. And I kind of went off on one with this. I didn't stick to the brief a whole awful lot. I found it a little bit uninspiring. I always turn it into some sort of spiritual commentary. Obviously the little toy thing wasn't a spiritual commentary, but this one was. And my kind of first piece that I did, which the process all for that is in my other sketchbook tour, which I'll link it here if you want to watch that. That was pretty fun. So this is another old man in my book. I thought his work was pretty cool. My kind of journey with the photography element is very non-linear. I jump around a lot. So at the very start of the, like when this first was introduced to us as a unit, we were told to write 3 essays about some artists, and so I just quickly did that. I didn't really think a whole awful lot about what I wanted to do. I just had a sort of rough idea and I grabbed it and ran with it. And then it didn't end up being what I wanted to do in the end. So this kind of like edited, kind of composite kind of image that this guy does isn't what I ended up doing, but I still think it's pretty cool, and I wrote a lot about it. And this lady, she did kind of abandoned buildings and stuff. This guy is probably the one that I ended up having a most similar final piece to, because his, as you can see, has little characters in his photos, and mine did at the end as well. This is Photogram, so I don't know if you guys know about this. Basically, photographic paper is light sensitive. So one thing that we did is we went in the darkroom and we like got it all set up in the dark, and then we put little things on them, and I'm not very happy with either of these. I think they both look a bit shit, to be honest. But I put my little rings down, and then you turn the light on and it like, the light like activates the paper or something, except the areas that are in shadow where you've put something down, they stay white, so that bit isn't activated. So these are examples of like other ones, and I much prefer these 2 that I made. They're much nicer. These are notes about the formal elements in photography, so things like texture, line, perspective, pattern, all that jazz. I didn't write this. This is a handout again. I feel like unless I say, oh, I wrote this, just assume that it was a handout. So this is the first photo shoot I did. What we had was a little sheet that had all these different shapes on it, and we had to go out and copy the shape. I think I did a pretty good job of this. So here you've got like squiggles, and then I've got squiggles, you've got a cross, I've got a cross, a triangle, I've got a triangle. This is a mind map. I just copied this off the board, so none of this was me. I didn't input anything into this. These are my 3 researches on painters. So this is Salvador Dali. He's a very famous one. You probably know all about him. Yeah, I wanted to do kind of like sort of surreal landscapes for my final painting, which I guess I kind of did, but they weren't much like this in the end. They weren't really much like this either. I guess kind of similar to this one, but you'll see. You might have already seen, actually, because I did a couple shorts like of me doing my painting, so you actually probably have seen them, because those get a lot more views than these do. Ferdinanda Florence, you probably haven't heard of her at all, and mine ended up looking nothing like this. These are just kind of like simple kind of liminal space kind of paintings, which I thought were quite interesting, and I thought it was worth exploring that as well. And then this was someone that we had to look at in class, so I didn't write this about her, this was given to us. All these pictures were given to us, and then we had to do little paintings of little spots which were around Brighton. You might know where this is if you've been to Brighton, because it's got the sign and the bunting, and yeah. I was pretty proud of this one. I didn't sketch this, I just sort of did it then and there, and I think I did such a good job with this old lady here. Ugh! This is the most horrible page ever, it's disgusting. I picked a really nasty colour, and then I picked another nasty colour for the, like, title, and it just looks bad. This is composition analysis. So you've got the photograph here, and then you've got kind of like an analysis of it. So the lines, like the red is kind of straight lines, or like the main lines that are involved in the thing. This was the second photo shoot, so this exercise we went out all together and had to find different kind of composition techniques. So, for example, this would be low viewpoint, because I was like just taking a photo of something above me. This one is probably narrow depth of field. This one's probably great depth of field. This is frame within a frame. And these are some little notes about different kinds of paint. Okay, and then we looked at this artist called Katarzyna Coleman in class, who makes these kind of blendy, kind of simple black and white paintings. There's also an ugly page. Ugh. This is just notes about kind of aperture and depth of field, and exposure as well. We've got a little diagram about exposure. And then here, we did some analysis of this Picasso painting that's of some naked ladies, and then we did a little comparison of some David Hockney work. So this is his mum. I like this painting. I think this is a pretty solid painting. And then this is his mum again, in the form of a joiner, which is, there's loads of little examples here. Basically, like, taking photos from loads of different angles of your subject, and then you smush them together to make kind of a other kind of picture. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You had to write little comparisons between these two bits of work that were about his mum. And then we've got more examples here. And then we made our own one. So I was really pleased with this. And I didn't even use Photoshop. I just did it on Word, because I don't know, I like what I like, and I'm set in my ways, and yeah, whatever. So yeah, basically different angles of this church, and they were all kind of pasted together, and I think I did a good job. These are some of the individual pictures from that shoot that you can see that I like rearranged. This wasn't all one photo shoot I did all together, but just for this, like, the sake of ease, I guess, I like made it look as if it was that way. Basically, whenever I was on the bus and there was no one else there, I took a photo, and I kind of originally was going for a kind of liminal space, kind of abandoned area kind of vibe, so that's what this is all about. This is when it snowed. I took some photos. It like snowed for like an hour down south where I live, and then that was it. That's all the snow we got this year. But yeah, this is my final idea generation, and this is the idea I did, not this one. So, yeah, so this actually isn't the idea I did. I started with this idea, and then I changed it again. So it went from kind of liminal spaces to paranormal spaces to crime scene photography. So some pretty big leaps there. So basically me and my friend, we went to the woods, and basically they just pretended to be dead in a bunch of different places. And I took photos. And then I showed these photos to my teacher, and he didn't like them. So we had to do it again. And I kind of changed my theme a little bit after that as well. So this is... Okay, I'll show you. So this is the photos I took with my friend the first time, where they were just pretending to be dead a bunch of places. This is the more recent one, but there are better photos than this. these are just some of them. This is like the order in which you paint things, apparently. I didn't do it that way because I was using gouache, and you use gouache a lot differently to that. He was teaching us how to use like acrylics and watercolors, I think, but I don't really like either of those that much. Watercolors are okay. I've done a couple watercolor paintings, but I do prefer gouache. It's like basically just colored pencils but liquid, so that's why I like them. So these paintings by John Piper, and I kind of have a bit of beef with this because I wasn't in the lesson because I was doing a work experience placement at an archaeology firm for a hot minute, and I emailed my teacher. I was like, yo, on the lesson schedule it says we're doing this on the lesson I've missed. Could you explain a bit about the kind of criteria that we've got to include with this? And he never got back to me. And so I just did it. And then when he saw the final thing, he was like, oh, you've done it wrong. I was like, I emailed you, and you ignored me. So yeah, bit miffed about that, whatever. But this is some painting techniques that we were doing. So, impasto, which is like crusty, like layers of paint that all go hard on top of each other. Oh, that sounds wrong. Moving on. This is more painting stuff. So these were some ideas I had. So I did this one and this one for my kind of final painting ideas. So this is the photo shoot and photo book process. So this is my friend. You've seen my friend on the channel before. They were in my t-shirt painting video, which as of right now when I'm filming this on the 1st of May, has like 800-ish views, so you probably have seen that. It's like one of the more popular videos on my channel. Basically, me and my friend just went out and I took photos of them in the woods. And yeah, this is how I made the book. So it's just like basically just bits of cardboard crap, and then I painted on them, and then I painted on them some more, and then I stuck crap to them. And then this is my painting. So as you can see, the whole like, ooh, gonna make them look like part of the landscape, and they're not gonna look separate, and you're not gonna be able to see them at first because they'll be part of the landscape. That didn't happen. I changed my idea. I'm not sure why. I think I just couldn't be bothered. I think I'd already made so much detail in the outside area that I thought having like a super detailed, crusty like figure in the middle would kind of detract it, and also it wouldn't have as clear of a focal point. So what I did was I had like a little snake, and then like a grey, kind of almost like a statue person instead of like a body, I guess. And then this is my final evaluation. So again, just those, and yeah, one of the landscapey photos I took. So not all of the photos have my friend in. Final evaluation, basically you just have to write about the successes and failures, the kind of health and safety, improvements you would make, the kind of meaning and message. Let me read what my message is, actually. Okay. The message of this body of work is to express the spiritual connection between the universe and the human soul. That's pretty deep. Okay, hold on to yourselves, guys. The paintings are reminiscent of illuminated manuscript, an illustrated gold embossed book that often told a biblical story. I reference this format to imbue the piece with religious connotations. Combining this with the whimsical style of painting makes it look like a transcription of fairy tale lore. So it's kind of meant to be like a kind of fairy tale looking painting, some kind of religious like expression of some sort of fairy tale religion, I guess. This is an example of like obviously like a Christian like manuscript. That's probably like one of the saints or the prophets or something. I don't know specifically what this is from, but this would be like some whatever kind of religion from whatever kind of, I didn't come up with a backstory for this. Whatever kind of fairy tale land, this would be kind of their religion about their kind of like stone statues getting eaten by snakes or something. But yes, but it's about the connection of the human soul to the universe. That's an important fact, apparently. I used the symbol of a snake as a biblical reference to anchor the religious connotations. The bodies are colourless and static, as if made of stone, but the forest around them is blooming with colour. This is to show that though our bodies are temporary, growth, life, and rebirth is an eternal concept. This is high concept stuff, guys, okay? Don't ever say I don't know what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing. Okay, these are the final photos I ended up choosing. And this is my two final paintings, just slightly larger. That is my whole project. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely check out my other sketchbook tours if this interested you. And I will be doing another one soon, as soon as I've finished my next sketchbook, which is kind of like 2/3 done, I'd say. We're like kind of halfway through the last project that I have to do in it. And yeah, have a good time, and I hope to see you next week.